The time has come for you to lip sync for your life. Good luck, and don't it up.
So They Them, the movie makes you question how the fuck they got Kevin Bacon into this. Look, if you're going to queerbait for your shit, that's better be good, okay? You better work, bitch. Because otherwise, you're going to get backlashed. And even before I watched the movie, I knew it was going to suck. And it did. I mean, check it out for yourself, check the poster out. The dark theme, placing of the actors, the title, it seems straight out of an SNL sketch. Look, this movie was so bad and it was so boring for a slasher. If you don't believe me, let's check out some Letterboxd comments, shall we? And you know what? I was actually thinking about analyzing the movie accordingly to the queer theory, but never mind, dude. This is too hilarious to be taken serious. Even the directors didn't take the movie serious, why was I? And listen, I'm not a movie critic, but I'm a certified hater who happen to love movies. Also, back in uni I took a cinema class, so I know some things, just not everything. Oh boy, They Them is a horror movie, allegedly. But in reality, it's more of a cinematic fever dream where someone said, what if Friday the 13th had Glee vibes, but was also written by someone who had only ever heard of horror movies and gays? So buckle up, my lovely people, because we're diving into this masterpiece of what the hell even this movie. So the movie begins with this lady driving in a lonely road while listening to a horror short or a meditation DVD, I'm not sure. And just as she pauses the DVD, she gets into a little accident. And she does this thing that every sane person will do. Goes out of her comfortable car in the middle of nowhere, in dark, to check around. She starts to hear strange noises coming from the bushes just before getting encountered with a deer. And just as she goes back at her car, guess who's waiting in there? Yeah, an ex-murderer. Like, wow, a horror scene in this horror movie? Don't get used to it. And after this pretty basic ass opening, we're at where magic happens, the Whistler camp. It's a gay conversion camp operated by Owen Whistler, aka Kevin Bacon, and his family. And I'm not gonna lie, everything seems so forced until now. The characters, the setting, first kill of the movie. So far no character has opened their mouth though, but you know, when you know. Then Kevin Bacon, Owen, gives this inspirational, overly used speech about how God loves all of us and him being a-okay with gays. And I can hear you ask like, bitch, in 2022, which is the release date of the movie, what conversion camp are you talking about? And I know. I don't know it either. Other than Owen, we got Dr. Cora Whistler, who happened to be the wife of Owen. We got Nurse Molly, Zane the athletics director, and he's also a former student of the camp. And we got Sarah, who happened to be the poor girl, who is Zane's fiancée. And yeah, she is sitting like that for the whole scene, dude. Balthazar and Duke the dog, which happened to be my favorite character in the whole movie. And I think from the first scene they wanted to eliminate the possibility for anyone to survive by taking all the electronics, cell phones, and chances of all the good time by also taking any medicine, narcotics, and drugs. Plus, Sarah has been sitting like this for the whole scene, so she better be the ex-murderer or else that's some psycho behavior, I'm telling you that. Later on, we meet Jordan, our non-binary protagonist, who already knows this camp is full of nonsense. Toby, the token funny gay guy who deserves better than the script. Kim, who is a lesbian and therefore immediately doomed. Veronica, the influencer who is both bisexual and here for the drama. Alexandra, the trans woman who is just vibing, and by vibing I mean trying to stay alive. And bunch of other kids who are just bodies in a slasher movie. After some wholesome camp activities, this scene happens. And God, I knew you could not trust that bitch. It was evident from the way she sat back in there. I swear I'm not going to be surprised if she is the killer. Okay, at this point of the movie, I was so bored, so I started to imagine my own plot twist where the whole crew members were like also gay. So in the next scene, turns out Alexandra was also trans and Sarah happened to have an amazing gaydar. And I wonder why. Wink wink. So Alexandra gets transported to the boys' cabin. Later on we see some unnecessary scenes where Stu being homophobic and like hating for no reason, like you know where you are, right dude? And instead of, horror, we get a montage of wholesome camp activities like forced gender conformity exercises, creepy therapy sessions where they try to make a girl love floral dresses, musical number where they sing Perfect by Pink around the campfire. Yes, that happens. Yes, it is supposed to be emotional, and I definitely wanted to crawl into the void at this point. Meanwhile, the camp staff is serving red flag realness. The main counselor, Molly, is suspiciously nice, the creepy nurse is suspiciously creepy, and Kevin Bacon is being so aggressively sportive that you just know he's evil. And they also try to fix Alex by misgendering her every 5 seconds. At this point, I was begging for the mask killer to show up and start doing their job, like remember the horror part? The movie definitely didn't. But suddenly, the mask killer reappears. First, they take out one of the creepy counselors, then another, and I was like, oh wow, we are finally picking up, but no. Because instead of suspenseful chase, we cut back to more camp drama. Eventually, Veronica sneaks into Kevin Bacon's office and finds all the files, revealing the shocker. This camp is a torture factory. Whoa, what a twist, said no one ever. Meanwhile, Jordan is done. They grab a gun and confront Kevin Bacon, but instead of shooting him, they just talk for a long time. And then finally, the mask killer shows up and reveals themselves to be Molly, the nice counselor. Yup, she's the killer, and her tragic backstory is I was forced into conversation therapy as a kid, so now I kill people. Which is okay, good for her, I guess. Molly then murders Kevin Bacon, which is honestly the only good thing that happens in this entire film. And after the most mid-final confrontation in horror history, the kids just leave. That's it. No, we need to burn this place down. No, nothing, just okay, it's time to go home. And in the end of the movie, surprisingly, everyone coupled up. So good for them, again, I guess. And Jordan gets a moment of victory where they walk away like a badass. But by that point, I was too busy wondering why I spent 104 minutes of my life on this movie. So for my final thoughts, They Them wanted to be a horror movie, but instead it was a bad after-school special. A really weird musical. Slowest slasher ever. A PSA on why horror movies need actual horror. The movie tried so hard to be progressive that it looped back around and became kinda offensive. Like, yes, we need horror movies with LGBTQ plus characters, but maybe, just maybe, let's also make sure the story is good. Would I recommend it? Only if you want to witness a masterclass in confusion. Otherwise, just watch Sleepaway Camp or Jennifer's Body. And my final rating will be 2 out of 10, and that's only for Kevin Bacon and Toby. And look, They Them could have been something. A groundbreaking queer horror film. A fun, campy slasher. A brutal takedown of conversion therapy, but instead it played the oldest, most frustrating game in Hollywood. Queer baiting. For a movie that screamed about being a horror film for the LGBTQ plus community, it sure forgot the part where the queer characters actually get to exist in a meaningful way. Instead of giving us a story where they fight back in powerful, satisfying way, it serves up a weak, generic slasher where the queerness is the aesthetic, not the core. And the worst part is, Hollywood does this all the time. They dangle representation in front of us, throw in a queer cast, market the film as for the community, but when it comes to time to deliver, they refuse to go all in. They shy away from telling bold, messy, real queer horror stories. So instead, we get half-baked tropes, forced trauma, and representation that's more about looking progressive than actually being progressive. If a horror movie is going to center LGBTQ+ characters, let them be messy, let them be the final girls, villains, heroes, survivors. Let them be everything horror allows straight characters to be. But what They Them does is just a cinematic equivalent of corporate Pride Month ad. Colorful on the outside, hollow on the inside. So, dear filmmakers, if you want to make a queer horror movie, actually commit to it. Give us something that respects the genre and its audience. Because we deserve so much better than this glorified summer camp PSA. And, dude, you know what? Final rating update? 1 out of 10. Only redeeming factor is Kevin Bacon's death scene. And I wish we were done here, but guess the song for the ending credits. Fucking Perfect by Pink.
Made a wrong turn once or twice.
So this is They Them, guys. If you have seen the movie, let me know what you're thinking about in the comments. And if you have suggestions for the next movie I should watch, also do not hesitate to let me know in the comments. Before I go, do not send any hate to director, actors, or anyone who participated in the making of this movie, especially Kevin Bacon. And until I see you again, watch good movies, okay? Do not waste your time with things like that. Okay, love you. See you on the next video. Bye.
Sashay away.